here's the big problem here, right? When we talk about you and I and the problem of sin, we have to realize that the evil spirits for you and I are not necessarily our main problem. We've already said the main problem lies where? We live a tomb life because you and I have a tomb heart. The reality is that you in the room, because of your sin, you stand before God in judgment. And you and I, we stand before God's judgment because of our wickedness. But this is the truth of the gospel, okay? And I know you've heard this 1,000 times, but nevertheless, Jesus as the loving judge, because Jesus is the judge, but as the loving judge, he actually ends up taking our place. You and I deserve to be cast into the sea of God's judgment. But that's the whole reason Christ came. Christ came, and think of it. Think of Adam in the garden, right? God told Adam about the tree of the knowledge of the good and evil. In the day you eat of it, you will surely die. What did Jesus do? He came to the earth. Ultimately, his ultimate purpose, the point of Christmas, right, was so that he would do what? Die. He would take the penalty. He would take the judgment that you and me rightfully deserved. He did it in our place. And in dying in our place, he actually ended up destroying Satan and his power. So I want you to envision this, right? What does Jesus do for you? Jesus takes your sin, he takes your shame, and he takes it upon himself, and he takes it to the cross, and he dies in your place. The judgment that you and I deserve, he takes it upon himself, and then he gives you something instead. Jesus gives us holiness. That is to say, when you become a Christian, at the moment of your baptism, Jesus takes off your filthy clothes of sin and he dresses you in his clothes of holiness. So that when God looks at you, who's he really looking at? He's looking at Christ and Christ's holiness that he gives to you. How many of you in the room, maybe you've been on retreat before, and you've had that feel, oh man, yeah, woo, God, yes, thank you. And then 2 weeks later, 2 weeks go by, and you go back to the very life that Jesus saved you from. I really do. I pray that many of you this week can have an encounter with Christ. Whether it's super emotional, whether it's intellectual, whatever it is, whether it's peaceful, whether you're bawling your eyes out, or you just have this firm conviction of your heart going, no, this is true. I believe Jesus forgave me of my sin. I don't care what emotional reaction you have to the weekend. I'm praying that you walk away from the weekend with an encounter with Jesus. But how many of you in 3 months when you go off to college are going to go back to the same chains that Jesus rescues you from? What does it mean to live life as a disciple? First, a missionary disciple leaves their sinful life behind. You don't need to go back to the chains. To go back to the chains would be utterly foolish. It would be utterly foolish to go back to the chains. Don't go back. Instead, this is your next blank. Go wherever Jesus says.